Welcome back, guys. I'm here with Steve Patrick, author of Level the Playing Field, and we're talking about that. Well, it can be a nasty word or a not nasty word. Depends if you win or lose. Appraisals.
That's right.
In the insurance claim process. Look, guys, if you get denied, if you're experiencing the 3 Ds or 4 Ds, defer, diffuse, defeat, everybody's got different Ds, but it basically means you're getting denied. You're getting underpaid or denied as a contractor or the property owner. Most policies have an appraisal process somewhere written in that policy that allows the property owner, which inadvertently allows you, the contractor, to get a second opinion, get a fair shake, get supposedly a third party involved outside the carrier, outside you as a contractor, to try to get resolution on a claim and get a fair shake. It's the appraisal process.
It's been in insurance policies for over 100 years, and if you hire a competent appraiser and they select an unbiased umpire, then as long as the damage is legitimate and your method of repair is reasonable, then you should expect very good results.
Well, yeah, as long as you have the right umpire. So guys, in a nutshell, how appraisal works is let's say your property owner gets denied, gets underpaid, they're up in arms, you're up in arms. Your property owner has to request appraisal, not you, the contractor. A lot of you guys are like, hey, you're demanding appraisal to the adjuster. It's not the way to do it. The property owner has to actually ask for appraisal. So Steve, let's get the timelines down for these guys.
Yes.
So once the property owner sends in a request for appraisal, that's when the time clock starts, which is why you want it in writing so you can actually see the date. So you guys don't want to speed up your claim process. You're getting denied on supplements, stalled out in the delay process. Start that appraisal process sooner than later, right?
And they're going to take the full 3 weeks too. The insurance company is going to take the full 20 days. So you want to get the demand letter in as soon as possible to start that 20-day countdown. On the 20th day when they name their appraiser, then the very next step is the 2 appraisers shall then name an umpire. And you want to make sure that the umpire is, number one, unbiased. It doesn't matter if he's competent, if he's biased. The guy can be competent and biased, and your client is going to lose because he's biased. So the most important thing is that he's unbiased. Number 2, most important thing is that he's competent. And number 3, that he's available. That's not going to take him a month or 2 before he can get around to it.
Perhaps out of state somewhere.
Yeah, available.
So guys, what typically the insurance company is used to dictating this process to contractors that don't understand the process and to property owners. So typically their experienced appraiser is going to immediately send their umpire list to you, which looks like it has retired judges, engineers, all kinds of very qualified people on it. But 80% of those people usually you're going to find get a lot of repeat business from the carrier.
They have a relationship with them, and so therefore, how can they be unbiased if they have a relationship with the insurance company?
The appraiser on each side has 50% say on who the umpire is. So there's no reason you have to pick off their list. You can submit your own. And that's what a lot of guys don't understand.
It's imperative that you do.
They don't take the time to write up their own umpire list. You should create your own, even if it's 5 to 7 names, umpire list. And when another appraiser sends you his, send him yours, and hopefully he picks off your list.
And a professional appraiser knows to have his own umpire list. So it's imperative that if you're going to refer an appraiser to your client, that appraiser be professional. Those professional appraisers, of course, have umpire lists. And so that's the way you should do it. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with the outcome, one way or the other. So my suggestion is you hire the most professional appraiser that you can find, or the consumer do so. That's who you refer to them, so that they can get the best outcome.
What's the next timeline there? Is it 15 days?
15 days.
15 days to agree and select
and
an umpire.
2 appraisers to agree on an umpire. Yeah.
To agree on the umpire. So that's to agree on it. So you're submitting lists. Now you got 15 days to agree. If you don't agree, somebody has to file a motion for
Someone
it to go.
could. They could keep on working on trying to get an umpire. You could submit some additional umpire candidates, which is typically.
So you could go past the 15 days.
Which it happens all the time.
But if you wanted to take the offense on the property owner side, and you know you're not going to agree to their umpires, they know you're not going to agree to yours, you can push for a file of motion to a judge in a state of record. That should be. Well, the appraiser could do it, or the property owner. It's a couple $100. You get a motion filed in court. And a judge in a state of record can pick an umpire.
That's right.
Now, if you're talking about $1 million claim, guys, you might want to go that route because you're going to be better off. At least you got a 50-50 shot now of that judge picking off your umpire list.
You do well to have an attorney representing you when he's going to be appointing an umpire, because then I assure you that the insurance company is going to have their attorney show up. Lots of times they pick somebody on no one's list. They'll say, I'm going to pick that lawyer sitting right there on the third row
They can do that.
in the blue suit.
They can also choose another retired arbitrator or judge
absolutely.
to step in.
He can name himself. He's the judge.
So guys, once that happens now you have three parties. You got an umpire, you got an appraiser for the insurance carrier, you got an appraiser for the contractor. The only thing to make that binding award binding
2 out of 3
is 2 out of the 3. So once one of the appraisers and the umpire agree on what
or
that
the 2
award
appraisers.
is. Oh, it could be the 2 appraisers come to agree without the umpire.
60% of the time in our business, we find in our company, we track these things. About 60% of the time, the 2 appraisers agree and they sign an award.
So you don't even need the umpire.
And about 40% of the time, it goes to umpire.
Okay, so you have an umpire selected, but you've chosen not to use him because you're going to try to settle it out even after you chose the umpire.
Yeah. So once the 2 appraisers have agreed on an umpire, then they schedule a site visit. Then the 2 appraisers are going to go out there and they're going to take a look at the property. They're going to look at the damage. They're going to do a damage assessment. They're going to determine what type of building materials. And then based on the extent of damage and repairability, they're going to come up with a reasonable method of repair. And then they're going to put a price on that work, and then they set the depreciation. Once they've done those steps, that's when the 2 compare with each other and see if they can come to an agreement. If they can come to an agreement, then that settles the amount.
No reason to go to the umpire.
No reason to go there. That settles the amount. They sign the award, and it's binding on the 2. If they're not coming to an agreement immediately, the 2 can work on it. We do this all the time. You try to work it out, and you work on it. If you realize you've come to an impasse and the other appraiser can't be reasoned with, then you involve the umpire. So the umpire doesn't start at scratch. In fact, the entire appraisal doesn't start at scratch. When the 2 appraisers first start out, the adjustment of the carrier, the most recent offer to settle, is the floor, because the 2 appraisers don't have the authority to revisit items not in dispute. Whatever the carrier had agreed to, that's not in dispute. What's in dispute is the things that they omitted, and perhaps the price.
Steve, this is why I wish more guys would actually encourage their homeowners to invoke appraisal for things like overhead and profit, starter, ridge, waste, small price items like that where the scope was agreed to.
Yes.
But they're just getting shorted. Because what the insurance carriers would slowly realize is, man, it's really not worth it to hire an appraiser, hire and pay an umpire, lose value and brand equity with my customer over something that you know dang well that retired judge who doesn't need to have any competence, he just needs to look at case study law and premiums, understand some basics that overhead and profit, starter, ridge, and waste should have been paid for to begin with.
You know what we call
a lot
those?
of that could probably get approved without any site visits. It's a price discrepancy.
And you know what we call those? Desk appraisals. Because there's no need to go out to do a site visit. What are you going to look at?
So guys, understand the timelines for appraisal. Understand the players involved. I know Steve does appraisals in many parts of the country for folks.
All over the U.S.
He's even got, if you check the file vault here for this course, he's got a nice little questionnaire you can fill out where you might determine if you need to use appraisal. And then you get in contact with him and his team in order to get him on board as your appraiser. I'd like to have him on my house.
At least hire a professional who does this on a regular basis. What you don't do is you don't tell your buddy who's also a contractor, I'll do your appraisals if you do mine. Because now both consumers are going to get screwed over because neither one of you know what you're doing. And the appraiser for the carrier does, and he is going to eat your lunch.
So guys, remember the appraisal process, couple do's and don'ts. One is always create your own umpire list, or make sure your appraiser you hire has their own umpire list. 2 is hire a competent appraiser. 3 is make sure your property owner invokes appraisal, not you. You can't actually demand appraisal as a contractor. I see a lot of you guys doing that.
Even if you have an assignment of claim, we recommend that you not demand appraisal, even though you have the claim, because the insurance company is going to deny the appraisal. Pick your battles. Be smart. Have the consumer demand appraisal. They agree to appraisal, and you don't have the delay that you would have if you as the contractor with an AOC or an AOB had demanded appraisal. We found this all the time. Have them demand appraisal, even though you have an AOB or AOC in place. Be smart. Pick your battles.
Here's one other tidbit, guys. I've seen some, not always, I've seen some desk adjusters overturn their own decision before it goes to appraisal. What does that mean? Usually not in scope, but in price situations like overhead and profit or starter ridge. Some of these small omitted items that they're purposely not paying for that you know they should, and they know they should. Homeowner invokes appraisal, and the desk adjuster looks at the cost-benefit analysis of hiring an appraiser, probably going to lose to an umpire for something they should have paid for, like overhead and profit, starter ridge,
They know
and waste.
they owe it.
They actually reverse their decision and pay it once they realize the property owner is serious about pursuing it. So appraisal can also be a psychological weapon as much as it is an actual weapon. See you soon.